Welcome everyone. Akasha here, Nan Akasha from nanakasha.com and the beautiful Donna Stellhorn. Hi, Donna.
Hello.
And as you know, Donna is our favorite master astrologer in so many different ways, from Chinese and then Feng Shui. And you have to make sure that you go to get the on the list for the Return of the Priestess series we just did, because one of them was with Donna and it was all about Feng Shui. So it's very evergreen. Okay, this is a really awesome thing to listen to. And there's unlimited replays, so you can find the link here. Now we're going into the spiritual weather report, and we're going into the last part of the snake year, right? And
Yes.
so we're going to do a fall update, so to speak, on the astrological energies, and of course, how to use them for your spiritual growth, for your healing, for your abundance, for your happiness, for everything that you're going through, how to understand better, how to plan better, how to rest when you're supposed to rest. Always a good reminder for me why you might be hitting blocks. You know, when you change that into information that's saying, if everything is for me and these energies are happening right now, and this is how they're showing up for me, then this is an opportunity. This is communication, right? This is a form of divination. So I'm going to quick pop up I'm getting used to doing this again after being on a month. So I want you to know where to find Donna, of course, and get on her email list because she sends out amazing things. Thank you for that. And her YouTube channel also. So here's where you find her, donnastellhorn.com. And
Wearing the same outfit. Wow.
oh, yay. I love that. That's really cool. That's interesting too, because anyway, in Mayan astrology, sort of, it's not really astrology, but in the Mayan sacred calendar, which is used like doing your horoscope, you know, to understand who you are and stuff. Today is two. And so that there you are. There's two of you.
Right.
You
Yeah,
look
the
the
mirror.
same. And you're doing the mirror thing and the reflection thing. Very beautiful. So, okay, good. And then I want to remind you, I'm home. I'm free to talk to you if you're interested in this event. With Maria and Miguel Angel and I, and we'll be doing more shows, but you can find them here. And it's really important to tune into these. These are deep, maybe never again, these people coming together at a really important point. And we're going to be experiencing that right there in that picture with the Mayan elder who not only understands all the real teachings, but was the director here for 4 years. So he knows all of the secrets. And then Maria and I, we're going to be taking you through 8 different sacred sites. It's going to be incredible because we all 3 of us have different perspectives. So when you have these different ways of looking at energy, raising your consciousness, connecting to the event, being called by the energies, and aligning with well, I'm not sure when the eclipses are next year. I was going to say the equinox, but and this is the Return of the Priestess. So you can find it here, but if you'd like the gifts and other things from the people, go to that place. And we did this show with Maria already once about this event, and we're going to be doing another one now that we're all back from the UK and Malta and all of the wonderful sacred places we're going, all the sacred goddess places we're going, and all the priestess energy that's coming up. So those are some of the things that you can connect to. Okay, so let's dive in. I was in England from the 21st, I think, of August until the 23rd of September. And when you came on last time, you had mentioned the 23rd of September as a really intense day, really like be careful. And I already had my plane home that day. So it was interesting to experience it, knowing there was, you know, these potential energies, but like
Yeah.
you often say, using that energy up. I think I used a lot of the eclipse energy up. I really did the eclipse big time in the Virgo healing, you know, healing and well-being. And what are you not paying attention to? I don't know, but I fractured my foot amongst many other very interesting things that showed up in a physical way. And now that we're out of it, I'm home. I know I'm integrating for my own reasons, but everybody seems to be feeling still the intensity of this eclipse season that we had
Mhm.
not that long ago, right? And
Yeah, yeah, and that's not surprising that everybody's still feeling it because the decisions that we make during eclipse season can reverberate for up to 6 months. And interestingly, then at 6 months we get another set of eclipses. So the purpose of it is that something inside of us has become so unbearable that we must make a change. Or if we're so, like stubborn about it with the universe will just change it for us. And so it's quite possible that a lot of people listening have had some sort of either they made a decision or external circumstances, like their spouse made a decision or their boss made a decision, and now they are dealing with the repercussions of that. So that makes eclipses challenging. And the way to really utilize that energy is to just think about what it is that really felt a little bit broken in your life, not working, something that was just you didn't want to tolerate anymore. And if you haven't changed that thing, to start taking steps for that, because there is still enough eclipse energy now to implement a pretty big change.
that's good to know because sometimes these things feel like a little bit like do or die, or did I do it right? Or what if I miss out? Or, that was a big thing for me, always trying to be the best, trying to, do everything at that one moment. And what if I miss it, type of thing. So, and I think also, what is the best advice you have for people processing this, I would say, next couple of weeks, coming out of the eclipse season, but realizing we are in the last quarter of the snake year, the earth year, the yin year, and many, many people, even the muggles or Muppets, as one of my friends calls, even people who don't think and talk about this are like, whoa, this is definitely a shedding year. It's very definitely an intense year. And
Yes.
how do
Yeah.
we harness that, prepare for that, and integrate what we have going on? I know it's different for everybody, but generally.
Yeah. Yeah. But the general thoughts, and, probably the best way to approach this is by being curious. Like we all chose to be in bodies, at least that's what I believe, is we chose to incarnate for the experience. So we're these eternal souls that are here for this roller coaster ride. And then to say, like in the roller coaster, oh man, this is really awful. And yeah, if the roller coaster would just stop moving, everything would be better. Like, that's not really what we came for. So if we approach things and say, I'm curious to see what's going to happen, as opposed to reacting in fear, like things can get so much better because in curiosity you can see, oh look, the universe just opened a door. Like here's a new path. Here's someone who's giving me a helping hand.
Yeah, and I think that's the key because when you take some of the things I say, and one of the ones I love about you is like when the eclipse happens, you leave that room, the door shuts, you don't go back.
Yeah.
And I take it further and I say that the door's not there anymore. It's just a
Mm,
wall now, right?
yeah.
So Joseph Campbell, if you follow your bliss, the doors appear where there were walls, and it's the other way around with the eclipses. So there's a sense of like, oh, am I prepared, or did I forget something, or it's so final, but it's really about being present in the moment, preparing in whatever way you can every day, right? So that when
Mhm.
those moments happen and you come into a new phase, you don't necessarily know what it is, and you be curious is one thing you're saying.
Mhm.
Be
Yeah.
curious, which means
Yeah.
not demanding, not clinging, not holding on to a particular thought or
Yeah.
outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. And, to give yourself some grace too, to say, I'm still learning. And, at my ripe old age, I still like every day, like, oh yeah, I could do that better. And and that way, like I'm accumulating this knowledge for the future, for future lives, for this future, all of that. So And so, if anybody's out there who is older, there's less to be afraid of now because we've been through so much,
It's true.
so many different experiences, which gave us information that we can apply to the future. So we actually have less to be afraid of.
Yeah, yeah. I love that too. I know that at some point in my life, I realized, like, I hate the dentist. So when I went and it was horrible and painful and stressful and everything to me, and then I learned, well, it's just something I have to go through. And I've done it before and I survived.
Yeah.
That little key, I've done it before and I'm here. That
Hmm.
been way back before I had any spiritual language really helped me,
Yeah.
So yeah, any experience you have, especially the hard ones, right?
Yes,
Those are
absolutely.
real strength builders and
Mhm.
that. What
Yeah.
else can we do now? A lot of the clients that I have are saying that right now the energy feels like doesn't feel like the new year when it's sluggish and we want to get going. It's more just like coming up out of, to me, it felt like I went to another galaxy, not another planet. I've been to the UK before. I did longer last year, and I was so present. I was so in every moment. It was so rich. I knew I was on a journey, right? I know that my life in there, like you said, I'm in a body for a reason. I want every single moment to count, you know and I allow myself to integrate, but it feels like, just like I say, a fishbowl, like just sitting in the fishbowl going, and it's really nice to not have the talking and the conversation and the thinking, and yet there's a part that's feeling like it's time for the message, it's time for the the guidance, and that's what I'm getting from clients, is like I'm just sitting waiting for the message, on what's next, which is good.
Hmm.
And
Huh. Huh. Okay. Um, so I think that there's, I think there's kind of has to be a balance between sitting and waiting for the message, but also choosing, because as we choose, then the messages come through very loudly. Yes, this door is open or that door is not.
exactly.
So I do feel it's an active time. As we move forward and get into the full moon in another week or so, or less, so that we have a little bit calmer energy where we're catching our breath. Now, tomorrow could be an intense day. I'm wondering if it's going to be an intense day. And in intense days, being aware and making conscious choices,
Yeah.
that's the most important thing. So tomorrow is intense because Venus will oppose the lunar eclipse degree. So now the solar eclipse may have, kind of overshadowed that. But there could be some sort of news or something like that that upsets people. And that's probably not going to upset people who are listening here, but it could upset the people who are driving around you, like so having that awareness of, what people are doing around you and staying present enough so you can make a change. So you're not just a freight train. Oh yeah, I have to go get frozen vegetables, so I have to go down this aisle, even though something's going on in this aisle that I'm not, you know, don't want to be involved in.
Yeah, well, and I think part of it for me is like I don't do much resting and waiting. And my thing is to balance that constant mental desire to figure it out and go make it happen and la la la, with being till it's the right action, it's the right timing, and that
Mhm.
comes together, and especially after a big thing. And yet there is this desire, I think, for creative input, not even
Mm.
inspiration, like needing a refill, needing fresh air, needing your gas filled in your tank, or whatever you say, like that. So it's good to know that it's that integrate. excuse me, integrating grace and yet and curiosity, but to go ahead and be active.
Yeah, yeah, because, for us in the Northern Hemisphere, it's autumn, and autumn is a time of actually like taking what has been harvested and actually utilizing it and doing crafts and cooking or putting things up and stuff like that. So the history is that. And even in the Southern Hemisphere, that's a time of planting. And so very active times.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
weather's usually really beautiful now too. So what else is coming in the fall? What else is coming specifically in October? Because as we lead up to some of those real thin veil moments after the full moon.
So, well, the full moon will be the 6th, and it does look like it's a little bit quieter full moon, which I think is it's not so much that we have less to do, it's more that we're kind of catching our breath and, from all of the September activities. Then on October 12th, we have another of those extremely sensitive days, and that will be Venus again, but this time will be conjuncting the solar eclipse degree. Now, this is the first planet activating the solar eclipse. So those are very sensitive days. The first planet to activate the lunar eclipse that we just had, that was September 7, was Mercury, and that happened on September 10. So, and I'm
Uh,
not going to say any more about that. You guys can look up what happened on that day.
so explain a little bit about what you mean. So these planets, even though the eclipse is over, the energy of it, the essence of it, the medicine of it is still there. And when another planet does this, some kind of aspect with its degree, it's activating something. Explain a little more about that.
There's an old Humphrey Bogart movie, Lauren Bacall, and one of the characters in says, if you step on a dead bee, it could sting you just as bad as a live one.
Yeah.
That's kind of this energy. And so what happens is that a particular planet will hit that degree, and then we get an experience based on that planet.
Ah,
And so Mercury, which was that one on September 10th, is about news and information and then Venus is about money and finance and commerce and exchange of goods and relationships and interacting with other people because it's all Taurus and Libra sort of energy. So the two next eclipse activations, the one tomorrow and then the one on the October 12, are both Venus. And
interesting.
so,
Very
and it could be something like, maybe a jobs report is coming out or something, but it's a really different one. Or it's, but it's generally with these types of aspects, it's generally a pretty big event. So something that would hit the news.
And
So
so if they're both Venus, and Venus is also beauty and pleasure and
yeah,
wishing.
but it's an eclipse.
Okay. So that's eclipsed. So that's what I want
Right.
to clarify
Right.
because I think a
So,
lot of
because
us
Venus
like
is
to focus on
also
the
a
dark.
warrior, right? And yeah, so because it's an eclipse, yeah, I guess we could have people aggressively beautifying things. That would be nice.
I will make this beautiful, damn it. Very German. I had to fly through Germany. Wow. That was amazing. The efficiency is amazing, but it just that there's doesn't sound like there's a lot of compassion. My mom's German, so I'm used to it. It just was like, oh wow.
Well, it reminds me of, there's on Substack, there's some guy who posts these pictures of old architecture and even down to like old doorknobs, how beautiful they were. And now everything's so utilitarian.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah.
It's one of the reasons I love Europe. I grew up there, but we walked, I don't even know how many, it was just ridiculous amounts every single day. We were in London until we came back after I fractured my foot. Then it went down, but not completely. But I love it. That's my favorite thing to do because you don't even realize you're walking 10 miles. There's so much to look at. There's so
Yeah.
much to experience. There's so many things in your senses, that
Mhm.
Venus energy. Are they both of the Venus ones solar or lunar or one of each?
So the one tomorrow hits the lunar eclipse degree
Lunar. Okay.
and by opposition. And then the one on the 12th conjuncts the solar eclipse degree. So that would be 29 Virgo, of course.
29, right? And what was
Yeah.
the other one? The degree?
15 Pisces.
15. Yeah, Pisces.
So, and then
Mm.
Pluto on October 13 will go direct.
Oh, okay. And so
So,
right now Pluto's retrograde.
yes, and that's not really a big deal because Pluto is retrograde a lot, sometimes more than 50% of the year it's
Oh,
retrograde.
wow.
So, because and that's what causes Pluto to be so powerful because
No
it's
kidding.
slowly, just like no stones left unturned.
I love
We're going to
it.
go
Oh
through every cell of your body and anything that's no longer necessary, we're going to compost. But
my
as it goes direct, then it's going to take that third pass over this territory. And so that's the test. Like, so the first hit is like the slap from Pluto, and the second is, okay, I've learned to duck. Now the slap comes again. Did we really learn to duck?
Hmm. Give an example of like that in a real life.
So it's perhaps you are triggered by your mother saying some particular thing about your childhood. So that's the slap. So, and then you resolve because it's the first hit of Pluto. Like, I'm not going to get triggered by that anymore. Like she has her own life and she has her own view of how things happened. And it doesn't have to affect me. So then the second slap comes and maybe you duck. Maybe you're like, yeah, I feel okay.
Yeah.
And then the third hit, which is now what we're going to be experiencing, is like the swing comes around again, the slap comes around again. We were like, wait, I thought I learned this. Why is this back? And do we have then the presence of mind to duck?
So is this the October 10th is the third hit?
No, it starts on October 13 and
Oh,
it will go on for months.
oh, okay. So
Yeah.
months it's going to be
Yeah,
going back
I
and forth.
didn't write down, but oh, maybe I can give it to you, but of course I'm gonna need this magical device called a magnifying glass to
Ah,
see.
yay.
Um, okay, so it went retrograde at 3 degrees Aquarius 49. So when Pluto gets to 3 Aquarius 49 again,
Oh,
then we're done with this basically the test,
okay.
which is going to be long past this end of this year. So I don't even have it in this book.
So if you're
Yeah.
talking about a test with Pluto, and Pluto's the god of the underworld, so to speak, so we're talking about death, rebirth, we're talking about that in a
Yeah, yeah, but also it's Pluto
shadow.
wants to take what you're doing and remove what is not helpful.
Ah, yay.
And so that you are stronger. So kind of like, when you heat the metal to make the steel, you're trying to get rid of the impurities.
Right.
So, you know, everybody listening here is just, we're working on growth.
Yeah.
And so we identify, in the first hit, we identify things like, wow, that keeps bugging me, or this is in my way, or something, like I just have too much clutter, whatever it is. And then we start to work on it. So in this third pass, we either look around and go, okay, I got rid of everything, I'm good. And then Pluto reassures us that nothing else needs to be decluttered. Or we go, oh, missed a spot.
Mm,
So
interesting. Interesting. And that theme's going to keep going all this year into next year?
yes, yes. So to on the
2020?
spot here, what did I say? 349. So that
Yeah.
would be,
29. Mhm.
and by the way, these little astrological daily planetary guides are so helpful. They're available on Llewellyn or at Llewellyn, but also just on Amazon.
Yeah.
But I use mine all the time. Um, so yeah, so it's going to be, looks like mm, about first week of February. That's a big time anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just in time for the next set of eclipses, which we're going to get an Aquarius and a Virgo eclipse in February and then March. Uh,
Oh, wow,
yeah,
early.
yeah,
Early.
I know.
Say that again. It's going to be Aquarius, and is that
The
what you said?
solar eclipse will be February 17 at 28 Aquarius.
Mm.
And then March 3rd will be the lunar eclipse at 12 Virgo, which that lunar eclipse will be very much like the lunar eclipse we just did on September 7. So that is going to be, like if you were really hit by that eclipse, then this will be a continuation of that energy.
Mm. Hmm.
So,
Wow, that's so fascinating because I did a retreat in the UK with Maria Wheatley, and we went to Stonehenge, private access, and one of all these other sacred sites. We're communicating with the ancient priestesses and the long skull that she found there. And we're doing all of this, and it was over the full moon,
mhm,
September 7th, the eclipse, and all of that. And it was
yeah,
kind of a high moon also. Then I just realized exactly right here, you said March 3rd, we will be together again in Mexico
right.
doing a retreat.
Yeah, yeah.
So that
Repeating
same
that
energy
energy.
will be with us again.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's
we'll
amazing.
be at a Mayan pyramid instead of Stonehenge
Yeah.
for that. That's very, very interesting. Um, yeah, that's really early, but it's after the New Year. It's after the Chinese New Year, February
Correct. Yeah, the
2nd.
well, the
Yeah,
lunar is let me.
2nd or no, 4th. I can't remember. Earlier.
So this year, for Fire Horse, or next year for Fire Horse, it's going to be, oh well, of course, it's going to be the 17th. So it falls on the eclipse because it's a
Oh
new
yeah.
moon, and obviously, yeah. So the Lunar New Year, the Chinese New Year, is always on the new moon in Aquarius.
New moon in Aquarius.
Whenever that falls is the beginning of the year. So we're going to have Fire Horse on a solar eclipse. So
Oh my goodness. So
yeah.
I keep everything I do at the retreats or classes or YouTube or whatever, the message just keeps coming through, get ready, because
Mhm.
we feel this is intense shedding, but we're earth yin energy.
Yeah.
We're down here, right?
Yeah.
And I keep saying fire horse.
Yeah.
Fire
Well, we're
horse.
we're we're wood energy now. Wood. Yeah, not earth. But
Oh,
in
well,
Chinese.
snakes are
Oh,
earth
I see.
essence.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
true. But yeah,
Yeah.
the Chinese, correct. Thank you.
Yeah.
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 So wood.
So yeah. So that's yeah. We I'm going to be giving a class on the predictions for 2026 on November 2nd.
Oh,
And so
good.
we'll be talking about what this fire horse energy is going to be,
Yes.
as well as doing Western
Fascinating.
astrology predictions. But before that class, we also have a new moon on October 21. And that new moon is 28 degrees of Libra, and it's in conjunct Saturn. And what that is you're wanting to start something new, but you're uncertain that you have the expertise or the knowledge or the tools or something. It's kind of like trying to do a test, but out of the corner of your eye, you see the really strict principal looking at you. And it's a little disconcerting, you know?
So
So
the opportunity is to
The
not ask
opportunity
about it.
is to go ahead and you're either going to do the test or you're going to look at him and go, what? Right? And challenge the authority.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's the choice is, and there's no right answer here. But the wrong thing would be, well, I just said there was no right answer, but the thing not to do is just to stress about it. It
yeah.
is more like you can confront what it is that you feel you don't know, or you just push it aside and just do what you need to do anyway.
Yeah. Well, to me, it goes to my teachings and mystery school teachings. It's about mastering your energy, your focus, your attention. And
Mhm.
so if it's well, I used to get a lot more private access at pyramids to be there alone without any other tourists. And I could lead activations and set up altars and light fires and do all kinds of great stuff. And and then it got to be less and less possible in many places to do that. So we go and do it with the people walking around.
Yeah.
And I used to be uber picky, you know, even if it was just me, because I go all the time, wherever I go to meditate, activate, talk to the land, whatever, especially if it's like the solstice or something, you know, I'm like, everybody should be sacred, you know, be quiet. And they, years ago, they kept started telling me, you have to be able to not be bothered by those tourists walking by you talking about their lunch while you're having a deep spiritual experience. And that's part of the training. So
Yeah.
that's what this reminded me of is like, do you stop and say, I'm sorry, I haven't given you my attention. What is it you want to give me? What do I need to know from you?
Mhm.
And or say, okay, it's my chance to learn to know that that energy's there, but choose whether it has an effect on me or not.
Yeah. And the strict principle in this case could be the news reports or the rumors at your job or, just so and yeah, sometimes it's necessary to pay attention. If the principal's saying, like, this is not a fire drill, people, let's move it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus, if the principal's just in the corner on his phone, you know.
Or if it's the bully, or if it's one of your fears, or some of your guilt, or one of these patterns that's leaving your body, transmuting from being in your cells or in your mind,
Yeah.
and those energies can still come around. And that's what I find with eclipses, is because it can be so intense, you can get like some people are perceiving this energy they're in as depression. And
Mhm.
yet they've learned enough to say, well, I don't think it is. It's just I don't feel that inspiration, you know,
Yeah.
that curiosity. So with any of these, we have a choice. And that's why I like your information, because then you get to say, okay, that's what the energy is. It's not that you're going to change, go dig up the road. That's what we're walking through.
Yeah.
But now you get to know, and then you're like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, of course I got kind of car sick because we just went through a windy road, you know, or
Sure.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? To
Yeah.
prepare for that. So what are the energies with the full moon? We kind of skipped over that, and that's coming up
Oh,
pretty.
that's a pretty quiet moon, this one on the 6th. And that's where, as I said, we were catching our breath. That's where we can look back a little bit and say, all right, what changes did I make? Because sometimes we can make very significant changes and we really notice them, but sometimes it's subtle changes. And I think if we bring those to light, then we can really emphasize, all right, this is what's changing. Because oftentimes the thing that is really tripping people up is we're not changing.
Can't hear you.
Oh, well, that's
There you
not
go.
good.
Now you're back.
Okay.
Okay, you were saying sometimes it's subtle changes and then you disappeared.
So yeah, so the subtle changes, if we can kind of see those as important, the small things, like now you're walking a little bit more, now you're choosing this healthier food or something like that. Those changes could then cascade into bigger changes. But the thing that I find is, when people look back, 99% of their days are exactly the same.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's why the eclipses come in the first place, to break us out of that So this full moon on the 6th is a little bit of, let's look back and see, what did you change in the last month?
Okay, so it's a very look back one.
It
Okay.
is. It is. It's it's still harvest. It's like, what am I reaping from the seeds that were sown?
Yeah, well, we really still are. I mean, in New Mexico, when they used to, you lived there too, you had green chilies being roasted all over,
Yeah,
all the way
yeah.
through September, usually. Yeah, it's still,
Yeah, yeah. A nice smell unless you got too close. And then it was like, oh, ooh, that's hot.
I was so addicted to green chilies. Green chili sauce. Oh, I love it so much. I loved that walk in the fall weather and rolling your
Mhm.
windows down and all that beautiful stuff. And then the fall energy again, if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's going to be different.
To
But for
spring.
most of us, the fall energy is about death in a sense, is about a cycle, right? An ending cycle that we're going inward, right? There's more of
Well, I
inner.
don't know. I kind of consider that a little bit more winter, right?
Yeah, well,
So,
I'm imagining because it doesn't happen here, but I'm imagining the leaves are falling, but maybe they're not falling yet. That's what fall.
so yeah, but the leaves fall as a protective measure, and I think that that's so interesting. That the tree is smart enough to know that the burdens of winter are going to be heavy, and so let's get rid of what is no longer necessary.
Wow,
So, and that then is going to populate the future,
beautiful.
so people could gather the leaves and do whatever it is that they're going to do with the leaves. Like if they're bay leaves, they're going to cook with them, or
Wow.
they used to make beds with them or things like that,
Hmm.
right? So, um, yeah, I think it's just very, very smart of the trees to do that.
Oh my gosh, they're so smart. People should have more conversations with trees.
Yes.
I seriously think so. Uh, okay, and then going into like Samhain and Day of the Dead and Hanal Pishan and all of
Right.
these.
Very important time. One of the oldest holidays there is, that is, like a shadow of its former self, but still has a lot of magic and power to it. And so this is then the time to release and let go. So say goodbye to those who have passed. If you've lost someone, if you lost a pet, it's really great to go to a Day of the Dead festival and, set up a little memorial. So if you have that opportunity, so to let go of, the habits or things that you want to release during that time. So then you can get ready for, some renewal
Yeah.
when we get to spring.
Is there a feng shui tip for this time of the year, with the like the trees, letting go of parts of them they don't need anymore really makes me think of it's before the eclipses, how much energy I saw in people's fields of shedding, but not necessarily getting rid of it. So, like dropping your pants and trying to walk around with your pants around your ankles. Uh, and like finish getting rid of that energy, like recognize it's done and honor it and do a little ceremony for it or something, to move on.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
for that. And the Day of the Dead course, it's very big here, and Hanal Pishan is the Mayan
Mhm.
version. And what I like is the altars. They always
Oh
set
yeah.
altars, and you put the pictures if you want, and food, and just beautiful, beautiful. And to have that, and I always have altars around my house anyway. But
Mhm.
is there a particular feng shui tip around some of that?
Not really feng shui because it's it's not focused on that day. So, but from a more European tradition, it would be to maybe write on pieces of paper the habits and the issues you want to let go of and see if you can find a place to safely burn those. That would be great.
Yeah, burning ceremony.
So,
Very good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And what are the energies doing around that time? Anything that helps or to be aware of?
Well, Mars is still in Scorpio at that time, and it's getting to later degrees. And Mars is very focused when it's in Scorpio. It co-rules Scorpio, and so it's very effective. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's good for getting things done. This is the autumn time is a busy time. So, and that means that, we get the work done. So sometimes we are like, yeah, but I still want to play. It still feels like summer out there. But
Yeah.
no, you know, it's time to do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so other than that, decluttering, like moving into what other things can you be thinking about for the year, like looking back or we got some information about the upcoming eclipses and how they're related and those moons and everything. But there's always a sense, I think, if you're cleaning out and doing that work of looking back at how you've changed this year.
Yeah. I think it's really valuable because that assures you that you can change and that you can do things differently. So, and that ties back into being curious about what's ahead. Is if you lighten the load a little bit, then it's easier to approach the new things.
Hmm.
So, it's a balance, and that's why it's a Libra time. It's a balance of, well, of course, at Halloween it's not. It's now we're in Scorpio, but the balance is how do we, you know, prepare for the future, so and let go of the past at the same time, you know.
Hmm.
And so balancing out what you keep, because in a theory, you're still putting up your fruits, your vegetables, and all that for the long winter.
Hmm.
So you are going to store and keep things, but you keep things of value. What are the things that no longer have a value?
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, you can think about what habits, what thoughts, what beliefs, what self-images, what relationships,
Mhm.
what ways of doing things. I mean, for me this year has been I like doing the work, so they just been pulling back those covers and saying, "Look what you got going on in here." You're like, "What? More of
Yeah,
that?"
yeah.
No. And but it's so exciting,
Mhm.
to see because it's a chance to really like, oh, that would make a big change, like watching your inner conversation, not just your outer words.
Yeah.
Are they both saying the same thing? And more with the level of um the circus and the information overload, the more
Mhm.
discerning you are using these energies to get that inner authority more solid, understand when it's maybe the energies and not a person or something outside of you affecting you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then, Halloween and Samhain is special. And so, I like to prepare little plates of different goodies for the animals that live in my neighborhood and put that out, as a little offering. So, it's even if you don't follow that path all the time, it's nice to honor that, tradition.
Yeah,
So, oh, yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Well, what else? Anything else that we need to know about the
That wraps up October. So then we'll probably get together and talk about November. Except for me to mention that November 2nd, I'm teaching that class about the predictions for Fire Horse. And so, yeah, if people want to check that out. And
that's on your website, right?
yep,
DonnaStellhorn.com.
yep, I'll send you a link so that you can add that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then we'll check in and see what's going on in November. We'll have some exciting things.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I don't think that we're going to have a boring time anytime soon, but that's just that's
that's
just the sense
pretty
of
much true.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh, I know. Um, do you have, or maybe I was wondering if we could pull an oracle card with you for the full moon coming up.
Okay, sure. Sure.
Do you have one handy?
I have tarot cards.
Yeah, that's what I mean, tarot cards. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I have like two or three, but I don't know where they are. So let's use yours.
So I have the Universal Rider-Waite. So it's a classic deck. It's like a standard Rider-Waite, but it's done in colored pencil. So
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So what is your question?
Oh, okay. What is the best possible advice for this full moon?
So what is the best, what advice?
Advice?
Oh, the advice for this full moon. I get the sun.
Oh, interesting. The sun, like, oh, okay.
So this card shows the child on the horse in his protected backyard. I mean, he has a pony, like that's pretty happy. And he's got sunflowers, and it's experience joy. There's
Mm,
a lot of stuff going on, yes, but there's a lot of reason to have joy too, you know? And
mm,
if we can experience joy, that will radiate out from us and affect others. So the sun, be joyful.
yay. I love it. You got the full moon illuminating you and the sun and yeah, what's not to be joyful about?
Right,
Absolutely.
right. We have, like we're here, we're in houses with indoor plumbing, you know, food in the fridge, electricity, internet. So like if we can be present, we can be this joyful. If we look around, we might have a pony. I don't know. Maybe.
Absolutely. I mean, who knows? Those doors are all around us while we're too busy, like,
Yeah.
focusing on stuff that doesn't matter. Yay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're all being freed. Well, thank you so much.
You're
Much
welcome.
love. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you tune in again next time we have Donna on. Again, go check out the Return of the Priestess series.
Yes.
Donna had one there about Feng Shui. And then the November 2nd class, get on Donna's email because that will keep you in touch. And you send out lots of really helpful stuff, as well as, of course, your YouTube
Yes. Yeah.
videos, which is amazing, you guys, because you do something like, the full moon or the eclipse, and then you do it for every sign,
Mhm.
so there's an overall view, which is great. And then you can look at
Yeah.
one of your signs or more of your signs. I look at the rising sign first,
Mhm.
like you taught.
Yeah. 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 Thank you.
Leo.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Namaste, everybody. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.